But first, let's begin with the latest on that mid-air collision between a private plane and a helicopter over New York's Hudson River. 9 people were killed in that crash. NBC's Tom Costello has more. Tom, good morning to you.
Hi, Matt. Aviation sources tell NBC News the controller in the tower last Saturday was on the telephone in a personal conversation at the time of the accident. And because he was wearing a headset at the time, there's a recording of the entire conversation. Also, the supervisor who was supposed to be in the tower wasn't. Both have been suspended and face disciplinary action, though the FAA tells us there's no indication that those actions contributed to the crash. Meantime, NBC News has obtained exclusive home video of the mid-air collision and a warning: the video may be disturbing to some. The video was shot by an Italian tourist who was on a boat on the Hudson River. While experimenting with his new camera, he zooms in on a helicopter flying over the river just as a small plane comes up from behind.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
The plane virtually explodes on impact, with pieces raining down on the water. Frame by frame, the single-engine Piper appears to be turning and climbing as it clips the helicopter's rotor blades. The plane then flips over as both the plane and chopper nosedive into the river below. We showed the video to former NTSB investigator Greg Fife.
Based on what I saw in the video, it's evident that the main rotor blades sliced through that wing very close to the fuselage, so taking off most, if not all, of that right wing.
Frame by frame, the video seems to support the theory that the chopper was in the plane's blind spot below its wings. Chopper pilot Ben Lane, who works for the same tour operator, tried to warn pilot Jeremy Clark that a plane was coming.
There's nothing he could do. It was a blind side. It was from his back right. There's no way we could see him. No way he could see him.
The video also captures the first attempts at rescue as boats raced to the area where both the chopper and the plane went down, only to find a few pieces of debris floating in the water. On Thursday, the 5 Italian tourists on board the helicopter arrived back in Italy for burial. Now, investigators will closely examine this new tape to determine exactly how this mid-air collision ever happened and whether it may finally be time to impose tougher restrictions on the airspace over the Hudson River.
They're going to have to establish some very specific mandated rules, maybe having mandated flyways for transient traffic, really cleaning up or tightening up the standards for how tourist-type traffic, general aviation tourist flights in that area, are conducted.
Both the NTSB and the FAA have indicated they will look at whether they need to impose tighter airspace rules over the Hudson River. You may recall air traffic under 1,100 feet can fly without a flight plan or air traffic control. The pilots are supposed to communicate with each other on a shared radio frequency, but it's not clear if the plane's pilot was on that frequency or on another frequency monitored by Newark Tower. Matt?
Tom, what's the timetable we're looking at here? When might we see some changes in the rules and regulations governing that air corridor?
Well, the investigation itself will probably take 12 to 18 months. If the FAA were to act on changes in the Hudson airspace rather, that could come any time between now and then. This FAA under the Obama administration has already acted without the NTSB's recommendations. That's something that in the past they haven't done. So you could see, should the FAA decide to do so, it could act more quickly than in years past.
All right, Tom, thanks very much. NBC's Tom Costello.